Christopher Columbus was born in Genoa, Italy, in 1451. This was a time of great change and discovery in Europe. Genoa was a bustling port city, and I grew up surrounded by sailors and tales of the sea. These stories sparked my imagination and fueled my desire to explore the unknown. As a young man, I worked as a sailor and trader. I traveled the Mediterranean Sea, gaining valuable experience in navigation and seamanship. I also became interested in cartography, the art of mapmaking. I was eager to make my mark on the world. I believed that there was a shorter route to the East Indies by sailing west across the Atlantic Ocean.
At that time, Europeans were eager to find new trade routes to the east. The Silk Road, the traditional route, was long and dangerous. Columbus saw an opportunity to find a faster and safer route by sea. He presented his plan to the Portuguese and Spanish monarchs, but they initially rejected his proposal. Undeterred, Columbus persisted in his quest for sponsorship. He believed in his vision and was convinced that he could achieve the seemingly impossible. This determination would ultimately change the course of history. After years of tireless efforts, Columbus finally secured the support of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain. In 1492, he set sail from Palos de la Frontera with 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. The voyage was fraught with challenges, including storms, dwindling supplies, and growing unrest among the crew. Through it all, Columbus remained resolute in his mission.
His unwavering belief kept the expedition going. After weeks at sea, land was finally sighted. On October 12, 1492, we landed on an island in the Bahamas. Columbus named it San Salvador, marking the beginning of his encounters with the New World.
Columbus was convinced that he had reached the East Indies, unaware that he had stumbled upon a vast continent previously unknown to Europeans. This encounter would have far-reaching consequences, forever altering the course of history for both the Old World and the New. The discovery of the New World had a profound impact on Europe. It opened up new opportunities for trade, exploration, and colonization. For the indigenous people of the Americas, however, the arrival of Columbus marked the beginning of a long and painful history of conquest, disease, and exploitation. Columbus's first voyage was just the beginning of his explorations. He made 3 more voyages to the New World, each time charting new territories and encountering new cultures. On his second voyage in 1493, Columbus returned to the Caribbean with a much larger fleet. This time, his mission was not just to explore, but to establish a Spanish presence in the New World. During this voyage, Columbus discovered and explored several more islands in the Caribbean, including Puerto Rico and Jamaica. He also established the first Spanish colony in the Americas on the island of Hispaniola, which is present-day Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
My third voyage, in 1498, took me further south, to the coast of South America. I explored the Orinoco River Delta, believing I had found the entrance to the Garden of Eden. My fourth and final voyage, from 1502 to 1504, took me along the coast of Central America. Throughout my voyages, I kept detailed journals of my experiences. These journals provide valuable insights into the world I encountered and the challenges I faced. They also reveal much about myself, my beliefs, my ambitions, and my complex relationship with the indigenous people I met.
Columbus's voyages initiated a vast exchange of goods, ideas, and people between the Old World and the New. This exchange, known as the Columbian Exchange, had a profound and lasting impact on both hemispheres. One of the most significant consequences of the Columbian Exchange was the introduction of new crops to Europe. Potatoes, tomatoes, maize, and cocoa, all native to the Americas, were transported across the Atlantic and quickly became staples in European diets. The Columbian Exchange also introduced Europeans to new animals, including turkeys and guinea pigs. The exchange, however, was not without its drawbacks. European diseases such as smallpox, measles, and influenza devastated indigenous populations in the Americas who had no immunity to these diseases. This led to a catastrophic decline in the indigenous population, which had a devastating impact on their societies and cultures. The Columbian Exchange also had a profound impact on the environment. The introduction of new crops and livestock to the Americas led to significant changes in land use and agricultural practices. Section 5. The Human Cost. Controversies and Critiques. While Columbus's voyages were undoubtedly significant, they were also marked by controversy.
Columbus's treatment of the indigenous people he encountered has been the subject of much debate and criticism. He enslaved indigenous people, forcing them to work in mines and on plantations.
His actions contributed to the decimation of indigenous populations and the destruction of their cultures. Columbus's journals reveal that he viewed the indigenous people he encountered as inferior and sought to exploit them for their labor and resources.
His actions were driven by a belief in European superiority and a desire for personal gain.
The legacy of Columbus's treatment of indigenous peoples continues to cast a shadow over his accomplishments.
In recent years, there has been a growing movement to reevaluate Columbus's legacy and to acknowledge the harm he inflicted.
This movement has led to the removal of statues of Columbus from public spaces and the renaming of Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day in some cities and states. Section 6. Shifting Sands of History. Columbus's legacy. Columbus's legacy is a complex one, marked by both triumph and tragedy. On the one hand, he is credited with opening up the Americas to European exploration and colonization, which had a profound impact on the course of world history. His voyages led to the exchange of goods, ideas, and people between the Old World and the New, transforming both hemispheres. On the other hand, Columbus's legacy is tarnished by his treatment of indigenous people. His actions contributed to the enslavement, exploitation, and death of millions of indigenous people. This dark side of his legacy cannot be ignored or minimized. Despite the controversies surrounding his life and actions, Columbus remains a significant figure in history. His voyages were a testament to human curiosity, ambition, and the desire to explore the unknown. They also serve as a reminder of the importance of understanding the past in all its complexity, acknowledging both the positive and negative consequences of human actions. Section 7. A Mixed Legacy. Columbus's place in modern society. Today, Columbus's legacy is viewed through a more critical lens than in the past. While he was once celebrated as a hero and a visionary, his actions are now widely condemned as brutal and exploitative. Many historians and educators now emphasize the importance of teaching a more balanced and nuanced view of Columbus, acknowledging both his achievements and his crimes. The debate over Columbus's legacy reflects a broader reckoning with the history of colonialism and its enduring impact on the world today. It is a reminder that history is not static, but is constantly being reinterpreted in light of new evidence and changing perspectives. It is important to remember that history is not just about the past, it is also about the present and the future. By understanding the past, we can learn from it and create a more just and equitable future for all. The story of Columbus is not just a story about one man or one voyage. It is a story about the clash of cultures, the consequences of colonialism, and the enduring legacy of the past. Section 8. The debate continues. Columbus's enduring relevance. The debate over Columbus's legacy is likely to continue for many years to come. As we continue to grapple with the complexities of history and the legacies of colonialism, it is important to engage in these debates with sensitivity and respect for all perspectives. It is essential to listen to the voices of those who have been marginalized and silenced throughout history, including the descendants of those who were impacted by Columbus's actions. By understanding the past in all its complexity, we can work towards a more just and equitable future. The story of Columbus is a reminder that history is not black and white. It is a tapestry woven from countless threads, some bright and some dark. It is our responsibility to examine all of these threads, to understand how they are intertwined, and to learn from the past as we move forward. Ultimately, the legacy of Columbus is a shared one. It is a legacy that belongs to all of us, regardless of our background or beliefs. It is a legacy that we must continue to grapple with as we strive to create a more just and equitable world. Section 9. Conclusion. A complex figure in the tapestry of time. Christopher Columbus remains a complex and controversial figure in history. He was a skilled navigator and explorer who opened up the Americas to European exploration and colonization. His voyages had a profound impact on the course of world history, leading to the exchange of goods, ideas, and people between the Old World and the New. However, Columbus's legacy is forever tarnished by his treatment of indigenous people. His actions contributed to the enslavement, exploitation, and death of millions of indigenous people. this dark side of his legacy cannot be ignored or minimized. As we continue to grapple with the complexities of history and the legacies of colonialism, it is important to remember that history is not just about the past. It is also about the present and the future. By understanding the past, we can learn from it and create a more just and equitable future for all. The story of Columbus is a reminder that history is not black and white. It is a tapestry woven from countless threads, some bright and some dark. It is our responsibility to examine all of these threads, to understand how they are intertwined, and to learn from the past as we move forward.